A very good evening to you. Welcome to another episode of Man Up. This is the space where men gather together and we discuss issues that affect men and we find solutions as we encourage one another to keep moving and to becoming better and better. So, mwanaume, vuta meza na stool, karibu na TV. We have an interesting conversation we want to get into today. You know, they usually say mwanaume ni wallet. Kama hauna kakitu, you have no voice. And so, there's a lot of financial pressure on men. And sometimes men get themselves into situations that were really unnecessary just to try and look the part, to try and prove a point. And those are some of the things we want to look at today as we talk about man and money. I've got two amazing gentlemen in studio with me tonight to help me get into this conversation. We have Roy Okonji. Roy Okonji is a debt management coach, financial expert and consultant. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
It's good to have you. I feel debt-free when I'm near you.
I will charge you for that.
We also have Wahome Ngaira, who's a founder, Personal Finance Academy and financial coach. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
It's good to have you.
My pleasure.
Mwanaume ni kakitu, kawalet.
That is it.
Is that true ama hiyo ni myth?
It's not a myth.
Oh. Uh-huh.
If you look at society, the man is socialized to be a hunter. So you need a spear. You need a club.
Yes.
You are the protector. You cannot protect your people bare hand. And you are the provider. So you must provide. In the world today, we have moved from that situation where men were going to do physical things, go hunting, go raiding.
Yes.
You know, go and do the hard thing. Now, a lot of that has been corrupted into put it in the wallet, then the money will speak. That's why the wallet and the man are inseparable.
Wow. But I think that's too much pressure because, okay, how much do I need to qualify me to be a mwanaume, so to speak?
I think it comes back to our understanding of who a man is and what is expected of a man.
Yeah.
If then we understood, then we will not be under pressure because then we will just know that we are playing our roles. We are doing what we are expected to do. When someone tells you that a man is supposed to be a provider, he's not saying anything strange. He's not saying anything new. He's not inventing anything.
Very true.
Those of us who come from the Christian background, we understand that when we were created as men, as the first people to be created, it was not a mistake. There was a reason as to why we were the very first. And we received the instructions. And part of the instructions were that we were supposed to take care of the garden with everything that was inside, including the people that later on came to join us. And the role of provision cannot be moved out from a man, right? Times might change, situations might change, fortunes might change, but that cannot remove the provision role from a man. Okay. So now, understanding that this is our inherent role should keep us as men at peace, knowing that whatever it is we are doing, we are simply doing the bare minimum that is expected of us.
Okay.
So what we can't do is put a number and say, if you have a wallet this heavier, then you are more man than another man. The question is, are you able to perform your provision role with comfort? And even if you are performing it without comfort, are you doing something to make sure that your future performance of that role will be with lesser strife than it is today? Yeah.
You know, talking about roles and that provision role, you know, women have come up. Women are also providing. In fact, in some homesteads, the woman is providing more than the man, or the woman is actually the breadwinner. The man is still trying to find something to do. Do you think that has brought confusion to the man?
I don't think that has really confused the man who knows himself.
Okay.
It will confuse the man who doesn't know himself. The fact that my spouse is able to maybe take a bigger job, earn more, doesn't move me from my seat, doesn't move me from my position. I'm still the head, and I think there's no confusion about it. You want the head because you're bringing the biggest piece of the loaf. That was not it.
But I find this interesting, even as you say that. I find that your generation, that identity as the head of the home, the man of the house, is so cemented. But I find that the generation of men we are raising today, kama hana kakitu kwa mfuko, his identity is so shaken, he doesn't even have a voice. I find that interesting. Where did we go wrong?
There might be a possibility there. Again, we are people with a history, with a heritage. There were ways of bringing up the man, slightly different from the way of bringing up the girl. The roles were somehow defined as we went on. With a lot of changes, I think there was no provision of how do we sustain the socialization. So yes, we have a lot of men who have not gotten themselves rooted, and they are not comfortable in their manhood. And there are times when they are confused, they actually even try to copy the other gender because they are not very clear who they are. If you're in that confusion, then the wind will blow you in any direction.
Yes. You know, when we talk about finances, we sometimes as men get ourselves into situations that maybe we end up regretting later, or it becomes a trap. And for both of you, because you teach people about money, what are some common traps that men take themselves into where money is concerned, as we are trying to, you know, assert our authority and show people that hata mimi ni mwanaume?
You're not supposed to work hard to show anyone you're a man. You're just supposed to know that you're a man and behave manly. Okay? So when you start working hard to show someone that you're a man, then you're beginning to court certain things that will be dangerous. You see, when you've now entered into a competition and a comparison. Okay? And when men, of course we have some spirit of competition. It is inherent in men. That is why on the road you will see us racing against cars that don't even know we are racing them.
And we don't even know where they are going.
Yes, and so for many men, you will realize that every time we realize that our friends, our peers, appear to be ahead of us, then we want to really try to engage certain gears to see whether we can catch up or even become better. And that's when we begin to see men start getting into traps such as gambling, for example. Right? Gambling is a huge one. Men have gone there hoping that it would be a shortcut for them to come back and demonstrate manhood. Right? And in the end, it has ended in premium tears. So the struggle to show, the struggle to send a message, it was clear you were a man. So do not fight hard to tell someone that you are a man. You can still achieve the results of doing what a man needs to do without the need to overdo or outsmart other people, without the need to make statements about the same, because it can land you into a lot of trouble, like the betting, the gambling that I'm talking about, like over borrowing, right? When you don't have money and there's something you want to do to demonstrate that you are the man, then what will you do? You will go to borrow. And at the end of the day, that ends up hurting us as men. And even if you saw yourself as a lesser man before you were trapped in debt, I wonder how lesser of a man you will be when you finally you realize you are actually trapped in it.
This whole thing of debt, it's so easy to borrow today. And it seems like, you know, the way Mswahili alituambia fimbo ya karibu ndio inaua nyoka. And sometimes that kaemshwari, you know, or that katala loan is the fimbo ya karibu. You know, this child needs to go to school, or I haven't paid my rent, or, you know, we need to go out with the boys and it's my turn to buy the rounds. You know, and so that seems like the easiest thing. And we always tell ourselves, I'll pay. I don't know what you would say about that kind of thinking, that kind of trap.
It's very easy to get trapped in there. And I don't know whether that's fimbo ya karibu or that's nyoka ya karibu. Because it's going to bite you.
That's a good one.
Fimbo's bite, but this one is going to bite you.
Yes.
And maybe sometimes we say, so why did I get there? And as Roy has put it very well, I'm trying to prove.
Yeah.
You cannot try to prove what is.
But society has cultured us that way, in that, you know, the man who has got something. I mean, even look at our politics. We have so many good men who vie for office, but hawana kakitu. When they come down to the mashinani to campaign and they don't live for us the 200s and the 100s, we are thinking that one has no voice. Weka kanda, wacha wazee waongee. Because that's just how society is cultured. And so I also want to be appreciated. I want people to know that I'm somebody.
When you sit on your seat as a man, now you must, in your mind, not ask others to approve you.
Oh.
As long as you're going for somebody else to approve you, you will find yourself on a slippery route. Because the approval system they have are so high and they keep moving. They are moving targets.
Yeah.
So if you wanted them to approve and you send kids to this school, the next approval bar is that the next holiday must be in this destination. And after you've done that, the next bar is that you must move from this estate to this estate.
Yeah.
They actually don't have a bar. They keep moving it all the time. So if they set the agenda for you, you will perpetually find yourself running the rat race. And this is where then I must say, who am I? What should I do? Because I'll never please everybody.
Very true.
Whether you have it or you don't have it, they will still talk. When they don't know where you're getting it, they will actually say you're a witch, you're devil worshiper, all those things.
Join the
when you
Illuminati.
don't have it, they'll brand you. And this is where we need to be solid. One of the biggest challenges we have as men, and we all know it, we don't ask for direction. We get really lost.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. But we come from a background where the society was so structured that people gave you direction before you asked. Now there's nobody giving you direction before you ask. So you must be conscious that I'll have to look for a way of asking for direction.
Okay.
So maybe along the way, I might need a confidant, somebody I can talk to. If I'm hard pressed, I can go to Roy and say, this is where I am, my brother. What is it? How do you wriggle out of this? You can get a mentor to work with you. Because if you leave it to other people, they will actually keep you running all the time. You'll never get to the top of the mountain they want you to get to.
Wow. I like the angle you've brought in, and we'll get into that shortly. Asking for direction. Because I'm sure both of you can testify that you know, the clients that you get that are in a financial mess are not necessarily people who are low-income earners.
No.
I am sure you have people who earn some good money, but still they find themselves shipwrecked financially. So it's not an issue about the amount of money, it's another issue, and we'll talk about that shortly. On Man Up tonight, we are talking about man and his money. Are you in that financial crisis where you're trying to please the Joneses, or you're trying to compete? Because the guy next door bought a Benz, even you have to buy a Benz. You know, because they refurbished their house, even you have to do that. My friend, I love what the gentlemen here today are saying. Understand who you are as a man and just live your life. As always, I'm only allowing you to go to the kitchen and get a cup of water and come back. We're coming back shortly. Welcome back to Man Up. Tonight we are looking at man and money as we continue with our series on financial crisis issues. We're hanging out with Roy Konji and Wahome Ngaira, and we are learning about our identity and also money. Earlier on, I was alluding to the fact that both of you interact with quite a number of people in the line of work that you do. And you have people who are low-income earners who have financial issues, and high-income earners who also have financial issues. So the issue is not the finances. What is the issue then?
Yeah, the issue is not the amount of money. It's what's your perception of money and issues around money. And you find if you cannot manage 100 shillings, on what basis do you manage 1,000? The difference between 100 and 1,000 is a zero.
Yeah.
Just that zero is significant. And so if you can't manage 100, you find even a million you can manage. And money is very interesting, and men are also very interesting, because men always have the next big thing. and the satisfaction level keeps moving up all the time.
Okay.
And that's why, like you're saying, maybe sometimes people who have more revenue end up with more huge debts and more end up in maybe a bigger mess financially. Because if you don't draw the lines for yourself, if you don't set where you're going, now money will get you rolling in every direction. We actually never get to learn about money anywhere. That's part of the problem. We don't get to learn about debt anywhere. And we learn many other things. I mean, you can't drive on the highway if you didn't go to driving school. But when you get your first job, they actually give you a payslip and they put the money in the bank. They don't give you a user's manual. No. But surprising, when you buy a phone, they give you a user's manual in 5 languages. So you can actually see part of the problem is maybe the way things work. Okay. Unless then you got somebody to guide you, then you're on your own.
Wow.
And if you're on your own, it doesn't matter how much you have. It's a very serious issue that we've seen even people who've won the jackpot, 100 million shillings. In 3 years, they're worse than they started.
Wow.
It's a mindset thing.
You know, you said something there. I remember the song that was sung back in the day. It said, more money, more problems. This aspect of financial literacy, is it something that men need to take seriously? Do we need to be deliberate? And I'm just wondering, for now, the next generation, our sons, what do we do to help them?
The issue of mentorship is a serious issue. And men need to be deliberate. Actually, everyone in society.
Yeah.
But now, because we're talking about men, and because when a man stands, society stands. When a man is stable, the family is stable, society is stable.
Yes.
We need to be very deliberate with this thing of mentorship. Wahome mentioned clearly that the challenge with men is that we don't like asking for direction.
Yeah.
And that is a big problem. I don't know whether we want to attribute it to our accentuated ego. We feel like if we ask for direction, we will look like lesser men. Because I can tell you for free, in my debt clinic, over 80% of my clients are women.
Oh.
Not because women are in debt more than men.
Women look for help.
Women look for help. Every time they are pressed kidogo, they will lift a hand.
Is it the same thing from your side?
True. Yeah.
Yes, and say, I'm in trouble. Men need to be very deliberate. Let's put our ego issues and our whatever it is that is inhibiting us from asking for direction aside, and just ask for direction. It saves time, it saves resources, because when I look back, and I'm sure you've heard me mention about my journey quite a lot. When I was struggling in debt, when I check back, sometimes I wish I asked for direction. Sometimes I wish there was somebody who would give me direction that was valid. Because at some point I received direction, but again it was misleading direction. Okay?
Yeah.
So I didn't want to ask for direction. That is for a fact. I had my own things that I needed to do. I realized society looked at me as this young banker who needs to be flying high and things like those. And I worked hard to fulfill the expectations. And that's how I found myself deep in debt. And I borrowed silly into debt to the deepest ends of it, right? And when I look back at that journey, borrowing without hesitation, borrowing religiously for years, every month without fail.
Wow.
From Shylocks and from everyone who looks like they can give me money.
Yes.
It's something that if I asked for direction, it wouldn't have gotten to where it got to.
Yeah.
Then you asked, what do we do
for the next generation?
Yeah. Now, the existing generation is already in trouble. All right? So, and we can't give what we don't have. So it has to start with us. Let us be comfortable knowing that we can seek for help.
Okay.
So that then we can also realize it is normal for us to help this coming generation to also be able to tackle issues properly. Now, we have to also now encourage the new generation to also find it normal to ask for help.
Okay.
Right? Because many of them also seem to know a lot even when they do not know.
Yes.
Okay? And you see the way mentorship works, the mentor doesn't come looking for you.
Yeah.
If you sit down expecting, sometimes I sit with young men, and I happen to be the patron of them in my church, and you will hear them say, we don't see the older guys coming to tell us things of life. And I'm telling them, look, these guys are always here.
Yes,
Have you approached any of them? And they refused. I would be very glad to address an issue where you approached us and we did not listen to you. So mentorship works that way. You have to seek.
Yes.
All right? Then you will find.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, Mohammed, looking at what you do you also have a personal experience that led you into what you're doing? And then the second question, so that we don't run out of time, is talk to us a bit also about the whole issue of contentment. Contentment, living within our means. But first, do you have an experience that drove you into personal finance?
Putting the academy, yes. Two of them. One was personal, just like Roy shared.
Yeah.
And you sit somewhere one day under the tree and you say, something is not wrong. It's not right here. I'm doing all I need to do.
Yeah.
I'm changing jobs.
Yeah.
You know, I'm living in the country. I go outside the country. I'm earning 3-4 times what I was earning, but something is not adding. I don't see the movement. I seem to just go around what I'm doing. I'm making mistakes. You know, you're putting in money, you thought it was a good investment, only to find it was a pyramid.
Yeah.
You didn't look enough. And then you, I think as you make more, you get more greedy. You know, you want to do everything now.
Yeah.
And you lose money, you lose a lot of money here, and then you say, now for my family, what am I doing? That was one side of it. I lost a lot of money in all those. And, you know, investments that were never thought through. Getting into engagement with people I didn't know. The other one was I was in charge of a lot of people. I was a sales director and I had a lot of salespeople.
Yeah.
And the more they made money, the more trouble we had.
Oh.
Yeah. See, if you're in charge of people, you want them to make more money.
Yeah.
Your salespeople, you show them how to sell and you make more money.
Yeah.
The more money they made, the more trouble we had. Different types of trouble.
Yeah.
Some went to the banks and borrowed money they didn't need. And so they forgot what was their primary assignment, and some shipped outside the country to go and try trading this on this. Worse off, the workplace is parts of this country where people decided marrying a second, third wife is the thing because I have the money.
Wow.
And you see, what does that do to your business? Then you see it totally affects your business and say, so what's the solution? Now, I ended up looking for a program. I studied the program myself and actually saw some good help out of it. And I said, if you craft this and you train a few other people, maybe it will make sense. And we tried to do that in the company, and the results were very fantastic.
Nice.
And so if it works for one person, it can work for another person. So that becomes very, very important. So your problems actually drive you, and you actually see if you're able to solve them, you can solve other people's problems. True. And that's why I think in some countries, they've almost made it compulsory at a certain level in education. You must go through a financial literacy. And this is big in places like Southeast Asia. You can't go through college without it. In America, if you, at a given level, you have to do it. And one day we might have to do it here.
Oh, yeah.
So that we then be able to save ourselves. Because if you don't do that, you asked about contentment.
Contentment, yeah.
Living
the reason I asked about that is because I find that we live in a society today where every other week something new is coming up. And I found myself in that situation where you desire something and you do whatever needs to be done and you get it. And 2-3 days down the line, you wonder what was the hassle about? Because another one has come up. You know, so we're always chasing the newer model, the latest model. And man, it's a race you can't finish.
You cannot. And you know, for people who studied this area, we have something called financial psychology. They've actually told us very clearly, money is a negative motivator.
Money is a
negative motivator.
Are you serious?
Yes. When you're chasing it, you feel very good in chasing it.
Yes.
And the day you have it, for some reason, the satisfaction is not there.
What?
So you start looking for chasing something else. And this is what we call the rat race. You're always chasing, and you don't get contentment. Contentment comes easily by saying, okay, here I am. What do I want to do? I set out my goals, I set out my vision, the things I want to do, and I start doing them one after the other.
Yeah. Roy, in your work helping people get out of debt, do you find that this is one of the factors that drives a lot of people into debt? Not being content, always wanting.
It's a big factor. I actually might say it's the main factor.
Okay.
Especially when we do things for a show. When we stop being ourselves and living for ourselves, the moment you start living for others, the moment you start seeking other people's approval, then you begin to lose it. Because the script is now written by others. Yours is only to act.
Yeah. Oh,
yet you're supposed to write your script and play it. So when you start playing other people's scripts, then the expectations that they have, you don't have control over them. And this is a big problem. Not just in getting people into debt, even getting them out of debt.
Oh.
Sometimes you think you're giving the child the best by taking them to those very extremely high-end schools, which you are struggling to pay. Now, this is what usually happens, because I've met a case where children are actually psychologically affected.
Oh.
Yes. Now, one day, the class decides that they are going for a trip in the US. Now they're calling on you to
see Naivasha in Longonot.
Forget this.
They go for a weekend to ski in Switzerland.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
So now every parent is giving 300,000 shillings, for example.
For the trip.
And this is within a short span of time. So they give you 2 weeks to raise 300,000.
Oh my goodness.
You have struggled to raise the school fees. You're still in arrears.
Yes.
So then it happens that this particular parents that I'm talking to, apparently their child is the only one
who didn't go for the trip.
Who is likely not to go for the trip.
Wow.
And you can see the child is tortured. So we are the only poor people.
Yes.
When in essence you're not poor, it's just that you made decisions that are actually overstretched.
Me, I'm thinking the way we complain when they say they're going to the coast, kuna wengine wanaenda skiing.
So there is the place of contentment. It's a big place in financial success. Not just in driving people into trouble when there is lack of contentment, but also in getting them out. I meet so many people who are rigid. And at the end of the day, I tell them, you're still in denial. The moment you still want to hold on to those things that are affecting you, the moment you still want to make statements, the moment you still want to announce to the world, the moment you still want to drive to work so that
people can see,
that you also drive, there is still trouble. You're not at peace with yourself. As Wahome says, if the reason was to move from point A to B, and that reason was sorted, why are you troubled with the latest registration, who else is driving, I don't know which model? That shouldn't be your concern. You will upgrade when you realize the one you have is not serving you to the expectations that you have.
Yes.
And that's just it.
Wow.
So it is a big thing.
Wow, gentlemen, my cameraman behind there is showing me signs. I'm trying to ignore the signs because I'm hearing wonders here. But parting shot as we finish, to that man who may be under so much weight and under so much pressure because of all these things we are talking about, what would you tell them as we finish?
My brother, my friend, ask for direction. These people, and don't ask from anybody. Ask from those who know, and they're going to get you help. Accept that, yes, you're man enough, and you don't need the approval of the other people to be a man. You were born one, so they will not change anything. Accept yourself, live within your means, schedule out the things you want to do. Focus on them. It doesn't matter. All will always be speaking. Keep your focus.
Awesome.
Wow, he said it. But let me just say this. To go far financially, you must be willing, you must be ready, you must be bold enough to make unpopular decisions. Decisions that don't follow the grain, the popular grain. Be your own man.
Wow, I like that. Well, man, we are out of time for today. Usijipatie pressure. Wacha wale wanaenda skiing, waende skiing. Sisi tutaenda hapa Arboretum. We have a picnic, and then the children can go back. It is what it is. I hope this conversation has given you some insight and some direction. I love what Wahome has said. Ask for help, it is available. And ask for help from the right people that will point you in the right direction. I'm glad that the guests we had tonight are not giving us theory. They've walked the journey. And so what they're saying is valid, and you can put it in the bank because it will get you to where you need to go. That's all the time we have for Man Up tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening. God bless you.
It gets to a point where if you've not achieved some of the goals that you set for yourself, you start looking at life as you are a failure.
Let's begin by defining what is midlife crisis.
Having no sense of direction, or you're feeling confused or conflicted in any way.